Hey, Puppy Trades! As you know, this page is dedicated to the stock market and tracking my investments, as well as the greatest and most uncannily accurate technical analysis, and I guess just analysis in general for predictive market forecasting, really that's objectively ever existed. And I've got my methods, right? As W.D. Gans said, use all the tools all the time. You guys see the Elliott wave theory and the options quantitative analysis and the dividend analysis and all of that stuff. Even the big things like quad witching being around the corner. You guys are pretty cool with me talking about quarterly rotations. But there's one method of market forecasting you guys don't really like. You don't really like. You like the results. You love the results. Why I think Apple will benefit from a quad witching rotation and start outperforming the NASDAQ. The market rotates in mysterious ways. That was based on Elliott wave theory. But look at this. The dark side of the stock market. How to trade quad witching like a pro and help find Riley Strain. Warning. The family of Riley Strain says they want to uncover more clues, but police are currently saying no foul play, so this is parody. The only really time I've talked about B. Riley Financial during this period. The US dollar, if you look at it, which I really recommend you do, especially if you work 40 hours a week and you clock in on something that is called a chronos, named after the planet Saturn, the Roman god of time, the Chronos timekeeping system. Chronos ate his children and enslaved them with time. So you're working your 40 hours a week, like the Israelites were in the desert for 40 years, like Jesus fasted for 40 days, like it flooded for 40 days and 40 nights, and you're working for something that says, "In God we trust" on it. Paying the debt of the sins of the nation, the time, sin, the sine wave, that sine wave that's emitted from the black hexagonal cube on top of Saturn's North Pole. Anyway, that was Riley Strain and B. Riley Financial. Riley Strain was a finance major, by the way. What about this one? Very interesting call. I updated this as well. Kodak Black was released from jail and allegedly began throwing rocks at a photographer. He shares the same name as camera company Eastman Kodak, and his actions are an example of institutionalization, which he had an album about that included a song called Rock Bottom. So that's a very perfect hit. 2.78 holds, and we've seen a monstrous rally into wave three for Kodak. What about this one? Another perfect call. How Elon Musk Delaware rant and Biden skipping the Dover funeral for soldiers prompts 1 million in Dover calls. Yes, Dover, Delaware was all over the news for some reason, just constantly trending. Elon Musk wouldn't shut up about Dover, Delaware, the capital, and this funeral for these soldiers is this big issue, and Biden was skipping it in Dover, Delaware. And of course, we had very unusual options volume, bias to the call side on Dover. I've had a very similar post about KEX Kirby Corporation. I didn't get into how the John Kirby was one of many Kirbys that were very much in the news for that, in a very similar vein. Okay, so this is a way of analysis that a lot of people aren't comfortable with, right? That's all I'm saying. So, but this is part of the stock market, and I'm very confident in this hit. I'm very confident in this hit. And I don't really know too much about these decodes, but just look at some of these. Justin Timberlake arrested. It's going down. Timber code. Kennedy grandkids saying timber. 3/20/2020 to 6/1/2024. 322, and of course, black and white checkerboard symbolism. 510 martial law. 511 equals down. Collapse of the Golden Gate Bridge. X marks the spot. Head wound. Very interesting stuff. Love the work from Warrior Code is never surrender, as always. Let's look at this one. We have, where was this? Another Justin Timberlake. Interesting. This one from We Know Your Game, and that Crimean Bridge is going to get smashed later. Justin, part of the 27 Club. Ego equals 27. His 43rd birthday was 139 days ago. The 4/8 eclipse was Cycle 134. I'm a big fan of this movie, In Time. And this guy said, just in time, Justin, a former member of NSYNC, first Diddy, then Drake, now Justin Timberlake. Everyone leaving the same comment. Crimea River. Crimea River. Maybe a connection to a bridge over the Crimean River? Very interesting. Better Move. This was a week and a half ago, 10 days ago-ish, 12 days ago, from LIZSFG Timber. LYC selling tons of wood. Timber from Upstate Reservoir System. And then commenting to that, oh no, Justin Timberlake halted his performance of Crimea River to help a fan in need, calling for lights and thanking security for their swift response during a concert at UT Austin's Moody Center. Sorry, it's always ingrained in my brain when I hear the word SWIFT to remember that's the acronym for our financial system, especially when liquidity is involved, as it was in this case, Crimea River. And then she responds to it again. You don't have to say what you did. I already know. What goes around comes back around. I thought I told you. Hey, Justin Timberlake has been arrested and accused of driving while intoxicated on Long Island. So some people think that this is a humiliation ritual because Justin Timberlake's in the Illuminati. Some people think that, Justin Timberlake might even have gotten himself in trouble at some point. Real trouble, even worse than this. And so now his actions, kind of these so-called rituals he goes through on the world stage, right? All based on the idea that, this was not the already very serious offense of driving while intoxicated. That this was, also just part of him having handlers, part of him, and celebrities having a role in controlling the minds of the masses. Even some people think maybe he got in trouble, and so he had to make some deals with the government, and that's why he has to do these things that are symbolic and even sending strategic communication. All very interesting stuff, right? All very interesting stuff. But what no one will ever do is really, they'll try to tell you how you can bet on sports with it. And obviously, I don't give investment advice in any way. But there is a way to make money off of this. There is a way that members of whatever the society is, maybe it's the U.S. government, strategic command, some military branches, maybe it's the Illuminati, some corporate secret society, maybe it's the deep state, right? And our politicians are helping us take them down, and that's why, Justin Timberlake got caught. Who knows? Maybe it's just a regular DWI. This is just the Matrix and the Aether. But I'll tell you something right now. There is a way that members of an occult society are going to make money with the information that Justin Timberlake has been arrested. It's very obvious. It's very easy to do. This ETF has been on the unusual ETF options volume screen with mostly a bias to the downside. So they've been loading up puts and they are going to use married puts, I believe, to get ready and load the last bits of their positions to offset those puts with long common positions that are based on the delta equivalency. So, for example, if the put had a delta of negative 35, that could be offset with 35 shares in a long gamma position called a married put. And then if there's a volatility expansion, the idea is whether wood, WOOD, goes up or down dramatically. It's a long gamma position that benefits from a move to the downside or the upside. These are really used, especially for stocks and ETFs, to pay dividends, to accumulate, I believe in this situation, the last big bit of shares before this ETF goes on a wave 1, ABC wave 2, wave 3. So this ETF, I believe, is going to go from being very slow and contracting to having an explosive move. It's going to start heading above this wave 1 high of 98.98, and it's eventually going to head to 123. So this is the ETF that tracks the global forestry sector. It's a really important sector for some sector-specific reasons. It's an inflation hedge. It's also a diversification hedge. It is going to be a global timber forestry ETF, I believe. So it's got a global diversification in that regard, but also this industry is very unique. There's only one of them, and wood, kind of like lumber, I don't need to tell you how important wood and lumber is for inflation if you tried to buy a house. So I do expect we're going to see wood follow XHB and a lot of these home building stocks that have already begun climbing further and further higher into wave 3. So I think that this is an A, B, C correction. This is a wave 1 and an ABC wave 2. The length of wave 1, place at the wave 2, place at the wave 2 low. In the long term, gives a target of 123. From this low, I think this is a wave 1 and a wave 2. And a large wave 3 is in progress that's subdivided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves, or I should say it's going to be subdivided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. I'm using the 78.6% retracement of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves impulse to invalidate a wave 1 and a wave 2 correction ending. So 72.29 I expect to hold, and this is going to be a wave 3 of wave 3 in progress up and towards above 100. We'll see some consolidation after that, and then another leg higher. But really, yeah, the whole point of this video, maybe this ETF, I think I saw it on the screen yesterday, a large bias to the downside, and I believe those were married puts that are being, a long common position is being taken against those types of put positions to load up as many shares as possible before this wave 3. So those are these kind of last-ditch insurance hedges before this ETF takes off in a really long-term cycle that it could be. Looking at this, it's not just a regular swing. This ETF is going to be heading towards the 120s, the 130s, and it's never going to look back. It will have a correction, I believe. It will have a correction in the 120s, the upper 120s, the 130s, but then we'll have a shallow wave 4 and a wave 5 higher. And so this is not to be grandiose, but it's only going to happen once. It is a very important call. I understand wood isn't sexy, but it is really important to understand a large group of people was given a very, very good investment recommendation today. And it's not really even, this is something that large groups of people are noticing. These kind of ritualistic things are happening. So just like Kodak, just like B. Riley Financial, just like Dover Corporation, in similar ways quantitatively and from a rotation standpoint for the third quarter, I believe that wood, this timber ETF, yes, Justin Timberlake and his ritual performance, a humiliation ritual, what some people think is, him helping the government communicate to a wider audience. This is something that a lot of people talk about, and this was just kind of regularly on my feed. There was more to go into this, right? And so what's being in the illuminated one? Is it some shadowy, cabal that you join. You go underground and then you drink blood. That probably does happen. But what the real illuminated ones are, they're the people who are going to get to profit from a move that they basically know is going to happen. They see this. And what's the thing? The regular people aren't going to be capable of seeing that this is kind of ritualistic, that this is something more going on here than just a regular person, getting into some trouble with the law. So, yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. We're gonna see Timber explode into wave three of wave three. A regular person, they're gonna see this and just think that Justin Timberlake is another celebrity, that's going through some troubles with addiction and sobriety. But the truth is, he's got some handlers. He is in these kind of clubs that have been talked about, these satanic cults, the Illuminati, whatever. There is a group. They are sending each other strategic communications, and they just let a whole bunch of people know to buy this Timber ETF because it's heading towards the 120s. Eventually, it's heading towards the 150s and the 160s, and then it's going to have a large red wave 3 that's going to end before a wave 4 correction and a wave 5 higher.